So today's vlog, I'm going to be talking about how I film by myself, how I'm able to make all these videos just me, like 99.99999. I'm going to talk about that process today. Caffeinated. One of the biggest parts about doing all this by myself is I need caffeine. So on my channel I've made over 1,000 videos and they've all been produced and recorded and edited solo. But what can be the tricky part, I think, for some people is the filming part, like the setting the camera up and the doing all the things. It's extremely convenient for, I've seen a lot of YouTubers that have, like, you know, they're like a vlogger, but they have somebody with a camera that follows them around. You know, that is, that's a pretty good thing. Most of the time, we don't have that luxury. So when it comes to making these videos, I have a pretty compact setup. I use this camera, the SONY ZV-1, and right now it's sitting on top of a Joby GorillaPod. I also have been implementing the Joby Range Pod for like a full-size tripod if I'm ever shooting some B-roll of, like, you know, me walking across frame or the sky or whatever. There's just, it could be anything. But I've got, this is like the main setup, and then there's, in the camera bag, we've got the GoPro, all the GoPro mounts, the batteries, etc. Now that isn't saying that you have to have all that stuff to make videos on your own, it's, you know, as a one-man show. Because all you need to make videos by yourself is your phone. Let's think of it this way. So instead of using this setup with the camera and the tripod, I'm gonna use the phone and just prop it against something. It's basically the same thing. So the difference between this and what I just showed you with the camera and the tripod, it's minimal difference. So one of the big things about filming by yourself is it can be kind of awkward sometimes because you're just talking to a camera. And that's definitely something that takes a decent amount of getting used to. Not only that, but you have to, every time you change location or move your shot, you have to pick up the camera and move it. Just like this. Just like this. But it's all the time, and you gotta readjust, and you gotta do all the little bitty stuff. You're not only the, quote, on-camera personality, but you're the film crew, and you're the director, and the producer, and the editor, and the all the stuff that you see on the credits of a movie, that's you. Now, when you film by yourself, another thing, too, is you can sometimes be limited to what kind of movement you can get. They make these things that are like motorized mover thingies where you can have camera movement, but first of all, that's expensive, and second of all, that's just another piece of gear you gotta get. And that leads into my next point that I think is probably one of the most important things about filming by yourself. You have to be creative. You have to be as creative as you can be, because with only you and the camera, especially if it's like I showed earlier with just the phone and it's leaned up against something, you have to get kind of creative with that. Now, there's a lot of times that people talk about how having like a crew or whatever, having a few people working on a video, it helps with the workload, and I think that's absolutely true. However, that's from more of that's a bigger company, corporation type of perspective. The way I look at it, and the way I feel like a lot of people on YouTube look at it, is if you do it, from an art perspective. The doing it all by yourself to me, it makes me more satisfied with what I've done because I know it's all me having done it. And I could easily see it being one of those types of things where, you know, people do it that way just because they want to have control over the whole situation. But really, I just find it extremely satisfying to go from start to finish, go from absolutely nothing to something that I am happy with. Going that whole process, having done it all myself. You see, at the start, when I first started making videos, I did it all by myself out of necessity. That was the only option I had. But now, you know, as I'm further along, you would think that I would kind of try and get an editor or do whatever, but no, I just prefer it by myself. I prefer doing it all alone. Even if it takes a little bit longer to make a video or to do whatever it is, if it takes a little bit longer, takes a couple more sleeps to get it done, that's fine. That's fine, because it's my work at the end of the day. It's my art. I'm gonna go do a little bit of Christmas shopping. It's actually November 17th as I'm recording this, but because I'm traveling and stuff during December, I wanted to get videos pre-recorded, that way I don't miss a day of Vlogmas. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna be able to show of the shopping process because the people that I'm shopping for watch these videos. But the main thing is, I wanted to bring you guys along to showcase filming by myself. And one of the biggest tools to filming by myself is this. The dash mount and the windshield mount. So I've got the GoPro right here, and I have, in my little center console, I have this little contraption that I concocted last year. And basically this is just a little arm that I put together so I could strap my GoPro on the windshield mount and I can get that view of driving or in the car or whatever. And this helps a ton filming by myself because it's one more versatile shot I can get without having to have someone else do it for me. So here's the little arm. GoPro is in 360 horizon lock, so it's upside down recording, but it's actually getting everything right side up. I don't use this one as much for the GoPro, but that one is perfect. Done in Walmart now. Again, I couldn't show anything really because the people I'm buying for watch these videos. Another thing that's important is, like, when I'm out like this, say I can't bring my camera into somewhere, I have my phone. And how I mentioned earlier, how, you know, you don't necessarily need the tripod or anything like that because you can just take the phone, lean it up against something, and you've got a tripod. Those gentlemen are getting a big old TV. Let's go home. My 1800th time today coming back and getting the camera. But hey, that's just what you do. So, even if you don't have a camera crew or other people to help you or whatever the means, if you are only able to film by yourself, that's okay. Whatever the case is, no matter how you record your videos, make videos about what's in your heart, be creative, and everything else will work itself out.